a second. He'll be ready in just a second. Get the lights good here, so we've got plenty of sun. And I know you're kind of warm, so I won't hold you long. Just want to say thank you for taking a moment to speak with me, and you're enjoying what we have here is a little gathering and celebrating the opening of this beautiful facility. So tell us, how did you come to hear about this, and what was your involvement?
Well, my name is Tony Norman. I was an ANC commissioner and community activist. I was chair of this ANC's Economic Development Committee or Design Committee, and also I was chair of ANC 1B, which is this area. We were a strong supporter of this project because it was workforce housing, and we want to show, and I think this project shows, that you can do serious, true workforce housing. Developers can make money, and the city can execute upon a social need. So I think it should be a model for the rest of the city, other developers, to show that workforce housing is what's truly needed. And I mean really, truly workforce housing for people who make a salary from 40 to maybe 50 or even 60 a year, can really afford reasonably nice, houses or apartments, if you will, and it's doable if you have the will and the desire to do it. And I mean that on the part of developers as well as the city.
Is there an incentive for the developers to do that if in this period right now? I mean, obviously it's a little different from when we started 5 or 6 years ago, when you saw more market rate housing. Now we're starting to see maybe a turnabout. Is it worth it still for developers?
Oh yeah, I think it's worth it because, in this particular project, I think it's all workforce housing, so that's a different type of market. But to set aside true workforce housing in large projects, I think it's doable because a developer, in exchange of getting more density, if you will, and getting any incentive that the city provide, you're going to provide workforce housing. I mean, the goal is not just, I understand the part of the developer to make money, but on the part of the city, which is a fiduciary responsibility to a social end, and part of that end is to provide a service to the residents here. And many of the residents do not have, or at least workforce housing. And the city has a responsibility, and the developers will find that if they're creative enough, they can achieve their goal in keeping their yield or whatever their investment is, and getting market rate housing as well as workforce housing.
Okay, but there's a reason to do that. I mean, in other words, it's still going to be profitable for them.
That's right, yes. What we want to show them, that you can still make a profit and still provide something to the community.
But where's that profit going to come from, and what's the incentive to do it at a discount? Is there a discount really involved in this in the end for them?
When you say discount?
Well, in the sense that the revenue that, you're not necessarily generating the same revenue that you would have if you were just opening up to the general market.
I mean, the incentive you get, obviously the city is going to provide several incentives for you getting the project. And if it's a city-owned project, you will probably get the project when you bid on it, if you show more diversity in terms of the housing that you want to provide.
So it's almost a requirement, almost in a sense like a mandate, would you say, or a quota, if you will, that you need to do certain things in order to...
I mean, we would hope it wouldn't get to that. I would hope developers can see, like these developers, that it's a smart move, that you can still do the market rate housing and still do workforce and other housing and make a profit.
And you can get more housing in the long run.
And you can get more housing in the long run, and you can provide a service to the city, and you can be a much more socially conscious developer.
Okay.
Which means you can get more projects.
Well, that's in the bottom line, is that they can still get something out. I mean, you can play a good guy and still make money and still get more projects and get recognition for that, right?
An example is, you may not make your maximum profit on that particular project in terms of housing, but you will make a profit. And because you have established a reputation as being a developer who's concerned about more than that, you will get more projects. So in the long run, I think the bottom line is you're going to make more money because you will get more projects in the city.
But you're working with the government I guess in a partnership to do that.
That's right. Okay. And just think about it, developers have to spend money on, because DC is a very active community. In terms of citizens being active. So you won't have as much opposition on projects if they know that you're a socially conscious developer. that know you're trying to get your profit, but at the same time you're providing a service to the community.
Well,
so
that's-
you will be, there's a high probability you will get more projects for public bids. And I think in the long run, ironically enough, you're going to make more money than if you had fought that small project and just refused to put any
Well,
work.
we'll have to ask certain developers if that in fact has turned out to be true
Yeah.
for them, if they've been involved in this. And we have Hamel Builders is involved in this, and then we have the various people that were mentioned today that have seen this come to fruition. And this is what a team. I mean, a lot of
Yep.
folks, and you've been involved in the conception of this too. And you're happy to be here, I assume? You're
Oh,
pleased
yeah.
with the product?
Yeah, very
You know
much.
anyone who lives here?
I don't know. They haven't moved in yet, but I think they just started moving in the last week or two. So I don't know. I don't know if I do know anyone. So I don't know.
We have
who's
residents who are already on the scene. Some were actually in the audience.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
So-
that's maybe she can tell me about who the people are.
Yep.
Thank you for speaking with
And
me,
who
Tony.